Welcome. In today's episode of Leadership Unfiltered, we have a very serious topic, and I want to make sure I get this right, so I'm going to read the topic to you. Leadership under fire, navigating accusations with transparency and truth. This is really a topic around harassment and how you handle accusations of harassment, either against you as a leader or in the environment. And so again, very serious topic, but we thought it was necessary for us to cover this topic today. Again, whenever there's any accusations of harassment, whether that be against you or as a leader, you are hearing that there are these accusations that are in the environment. You need to act on this, and you need to do it immediately. So one of the things I would start by saying is you need to seek legal guidance and HR's guidance immediately. You do not want to try to tackle these things on your own. You need professional help in this case, because again, this is a very serious matter. I like to think that all companies take sexual harassment or any type of harassment very seriously. It is not tolerated. There's usually a policy of zero tolerance around harassment in an organization. And so you want to immediately seek out the experts to help you navigate these very serious waters and accusations.
Yeah, and I think there's two aspects. There's the accusation, and then there's the reality of what actually happens. One of the important things to do, should you be accused, whether it's harassment, whether it's an ethics violation, whether it's any form of impropriety, favoritism, what have you. If those accusations are coming your way, it is so important to not get defensive, because the defensiveness means that your emotions are running high.
Yes.
You aren't going to make the best decisions when your emotions are high.
Yeah.
It's really important that you remain, as much as you possibly can, objective. Really look at the situation holistically, because losing your cool, losing your temper, regardless of the reality of what actually happened, the truth of the matter, suddenly will become irrelevant, and it will become all about how you are currently behaving. Even if the accusation is completely baseless and completely false, losing your cool will not help you. So you have to remain calm, because that will allow you to make sure that you don't accidentally make the situation worse by saying something that you'll regret, or saying something that isn't completely true, but felt true to say to defend yourself. In those situations, it may feel like you are under attack, but you aren't. What's happening is there are different sets of realities at play. There is what you believe to be the case, and there's what the other person believes to be the case. If you are a leader in that situation, your job should be to help everyone get to the truth. And that is what you have to remain focused on. You have to be the example. You have to be the one making sure that the truth is being sought out and the truth is being found. Now, that's easier to do if, in fact, you didn't do it.
So when we get to that, yeah, you actually haven't been harassing someone.
Yes, that's easier to do. If you have been doing it, whether intentionally or accidentally, because there are times when, I know I will speak for myself, there are times when someone has misinterpreted something that I have done, or I was doing something that I didn't appreciate the impact. It's like, oh, I was unaware that what I was doing was having that impact. So glad they said something. Even if they didn't feel comfortable coming to me.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they said something. Yes, it was difficult to hear. And yes, it was difficult to take in. And yes, I did feel the strong need to defend myself. Mm-hmm. But it's not about that. Right. It's about getting to the truth. And so, if in fact, and so we'll probably talk a little bit about this later too, but I'll just throw this out here now. If in fact you did do it, intentionally or not, don't lie to cover it up. Oof. Don't do that. That will only make it worse. Do not do that. Take your consequences on the chin. Intention does not equal impact. Mm-hmm. And if you had an impact, then you need to accept the consequences. And you may feel just horrible about it. You may be very sorry. And gaining forgiveness does not escape you from the consequences. And you may be forgiven. You may not be. But it's really important while you're under fire to remain calm and to remain centered and being able to make sure that your emotions aren't running the show.
Yeah, that's good. And we should be clear about what we mean by harassment. I'm not legal professional or an HR professional. So I'm going to give you my dummied down version of harassment, which is just unwanted continuous behavior, right? You are exhibiting a behavior that the other party does not want, and you continue to exhibit that behavior. So it's unwanted behavior that other party does not want, and you continue. The harassment is that you continue in that same fashion. Again, legal and HR has specific language around harassment. There's usually policies and programs that are in place in an organization that you take. There's training to make sure you understand what harassment is and what to do about that. I would suggest that you take those trainings seriously, and that you, again, consult with your HR and legal teams to make sure you understand those, particularly as a leader.
Yes.
But all employees should understand those things, so that's where I start. I have not personally been in a situation of harassment where someone was harassing me, and HR, thankfully, HR or legal has not come to me and said someone has reported that you were harassing them. So that's the good news. But I try to be very mindful of my role as a leader and as an employee to not put myself in those situations. And there's just things you want to do. As a leader, you want to create safe spaces. Safe spaces not only for harassment not to occur, but safe space for if harassment does occur, that those employees are trusting to come to you and share what's happening so that you can take immediate action on those, and that they understand that it is all serious and will be taken very seriously in terms of the actions and the steps that you take as a leader. So you want to create that space. I always make sure I try to do that. I personally did things to try to make sure that I wasn't in those situations. If I was having a one-on-one meeting with a female, I did those things in places that were open door, visually where people could see. Not that employee didn't trust me or I didn't trust that employee. I just wanted to create the environment that we both were safe, right? And so you just take the little steps like that, and then I would have transparent conversations with my team, because again, this is part of our organizational training, that we would have these open discussions around what it meant to be harassed and to have the space to discuss those things. And so when I had those one-on-one meetings, female colleague, and we were in an open space, I was transparent about that. Okay, we're going to have this meeting, but let's have it here. And they were totally comfortable with that. Because again, I was transparent about it, and we talked about these things openly. I have, as a leader, while I haven't had any accusations or it hasn't been direct, because I supported HR in some of my previous roles and have coached leaders in HR, not around harassment, but around leadership topics. This has come up. And again, I can't say it enough that HR and legal take harassment very seriously, and they have policies around these things that will protect all the parties involved. You said it best, keep your emotions out of it. It is not a time for you to be emotional. You need to think through. You need to be transparent. You need to be truthful about what has occurred. You need to be truthful about what you know and what you don't know.
Yes.
Do not elaborate or overextend on a truth that you might have. You just simply speak your truth exactly as it is. As soon as you start to extend that story or that truth is where you will find yourself in trouble with HR and legal. So those are some of the things I would advise people to do if they find themselves in a situation where there's harassment.
I wish I could say the same, but unfortunately I have multiple times gone through ethics processes for folks on my team.
I've been in ethics before. It just wasn't for harassment. I've been called to HR.
And so I had a person on my team who was experiencing some mental health issues, and it was creating a environment on the team where they were harassing other people, not sexually, but it was still harassment because your definition is repeated unwanted behavior.
Yes.
Yeah. Going through that was a learning experience in terms of how do you care for the person who's hurting, who's having this mental health crisis, and at the same time completely supportive of the team that they're impacting. Because I'm not one that believes you just come to work and you are a different person and you go home and you go home to your real self. No, I believe you are you wherever you happen to be. Yeah. I think one of the things that I think companies could do better is about caring for the whole person. There was a couple of mistakes that I made along that, which was great learning for me in terms of how to do both. How do you care for the whole person and at the same time maintain a safe environment for the team? And to your point, the great part is that ethics got involved and legal got involved and HR got involved to help guide me along the way, because there's something that I did that I thought would help, but actually was not helpful. What was wonderful is that HR caught it very quickly and said, hey, no, don't do that. Mainly because I'd never been through the process before. And so what you think will be helpful, they have experience that says, no, that will not end well.
Yes.
And so you want to lean on that experience to say, okay, help me through this process. Do not go it alone. Do not go it alone. And especially if you haven't been through it before. So there was just a tremendous amount of learning from that perspective. I have been around sexual harassment. What I don't understand, and this is Leadership Unfiltered, and this is what I don't understand. Why is it that guys can't keep it in their pants at work?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. This person works for you.
Yes.
Now, granted, it works the other way too, right? In terms of women sleeping with subordinates.
Yes.
But has been my experience, more often than not, the person in the power position is the man. And I don't understand it. I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah. Why would you risk?
Why would you risk that?
Your career, your livelihood.
When all you have to do is say something, to say, hey, I'm interested in this relationship.
Yes. And let the other person be able to say, I'm not.
Yep.
And then you leave it alone.
Yeah. Or if they are, let the company know so they can move this person, move you, whoever needs to be adjusted so that you are in a situation where the company is protected, you're protected.
Yes.
But all you have to do is say something.
Yes.
I had a situation on my team where team members were dating. They were peers, so it's fine. But when I found out about it, you got two choices. Either you can tell or I can tell.
Yes.
But this staying a secret is not an option.
Yes.
There was no superior subordinate type of situation. You're still on the same team, and that can create an environment for the other people on the team.
Yes.
And so it's really important that in those situations that you don't just say, oh, well, as long as they don't work for each other, it's none of my business. No, you're the leader. It is 100% your business.
Yes.
Once you find out about it, which again, just keep, if you're in that situation and you want to keep it out of work, then keep it out of work.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't understand this. All you have to do is say something.
Yeah.
Before you get into it, or heck, even maybe afterwards. At least say something versus having it be found out.
Yes.
That's the part because if you come forward, this has been my experience, that there are times when someone has done something that they weren't supposed to do.
Yeah.
They knew they weren't supposed to do it, but they were the one that says, hey, I just did something I wasn't supposed to do. Here's where I'm at.
Yes.
Most companies, not all, but most companies will work with you to try to help you fix it. But no company is going to put themselves at risk if they find out and you didn't say anything.
Yes. That's in a mutually agreeable.
Yes.
If it's not mutually
agreeable.
And again, it's repeated unwanted behavior. Yes. If you've, in your weird thinking, thought confessing that to HR and legal would help you out, then you're probably going to hit the zero tolerance policy and you're out of there, right? I would just make sure.
I still want them to say something though, because I want them gone.
Yes, yes. It's the repeated behavior.
Yes.
That is the issue. If you make a mistake initially is one thing.
Yes.
Then you can confess that.
Yes.
Right? That person didn't want the advance or the behavior. And so you say, ooh, I was wrong. And you feel so uncomfortable about that you go to HR, legal, ethics. That is the right thing to do.
Yes.
That transparency, they can help you understand what happens next, how to keep yourself out of that situation in the future. But you repeating this behavior is the part I don't understand.
I don't get it.
Once the person says they don't want this advance, they don't want this behavior, and it could be so simple. We immediately go to sexual. I've slipped and said it a few times when that was not the topic. The topic was not sexual harassment. The topic was harassment.
Yes.
Right? Sexual harassment is a part of harassment. It can be a topic, but this is harassment, and it can be really simple. You can repeatedly ask somebody out to lunch. That's not sexual, but if that person has told you, no, I do not care to go to lunch with you, and you repeat that behavior, it becomes harassment.
Yes.
I don't want our audience to think that our conversation was just around sexual harassment. Any type of harassment, any type of repeated, unwanted behavior, you continually ask somebody out to lunch, you continually asking to stop by after work, right? To go to an event with someone. It's the repeated behavior that makes it harassment. That's the part you've got to stay away from. Even if you mistakenly do it once and you're uncomfortable with it, that person's uncomfortable with it, you report that, that's one thing. But you got to stay out of the repeated behaviors. I want to leave our audience, that we're at our close, with 3 things. And I want to make sure I get them right, because again, so I'm going to read these out loud so the audience understands. That one thing to take away is that you want to make sure you seek professional guidance when harassment is brought up. If there's any accusations there. You want to make sure that you are protecting the psychological safety of everyone involved. Your psychological safety.
Yes.
And everybody else. You want to make sure that you reflect on the accusations. Take some time, take a step back, think about what's being accused, who's involved, what the circumstances are. The last thing you want to do is deflect.
Yes.
That is the last thing you want to do, is brush this off. And it's not a big deal. I don't understand. I've got a great story for you that I just thought of. And I should have thought about this. So I was actually called in as a consultant to an organization. And I can actually say the organization. It was the police department. I don't need to say which one, but it was a police department. The harassment that I was brought in to help the officers understand this, even though I wasn't an HR professional, because this was about leadership. HR was handling and legal was handling what had happened. But it was the response is why they needed my help. The situation was the officers it was time for them to get new equipment. And part of that new equipment was their protective vests. And the person in charge of handling the vest was a male. He crafts an email and sends it out to the department asking for vest sizes as they begin to order new equipment. This officer decides to send a separate email to the female officers asking for cup sizes of their vests. Now there's two things. I mean, in just that short story, there's multiple things wrong. But there's two things that stand out right away when they approach me with, could I help? And that is, vests are flat. There are no cups for women, at least that I'm aware of. I'm not a police officer, never been a police officer, but what they inform me is that the vests are flat. They don't have vests for women and vests for men. So why he would ask for cup sizes for ordering protective vests for the officers, I didn't understand. And why he decided to send a separate email. So, I mean, when you sat down and crafted the first email and decided, ooh, I'm going to send one just to the female, that should have been red flag number one.
Yes.
And two, why you asked for that? So, mistake. We'll count that as a mistake. That wasn't why I was called. HR could handle that. Legal could handle that. A few of the female officers went to their leader, registered a complaint.
Yes.
And said, this is harassment. I don't understand what is happening here. The response of their senior leader was, get over it. You are being overly sensitive.
That's called creating a toxic workplace.
Now, legal was going to handle, and HR was going to handle that response too. But the fact that that was a response that environment felt it was okay to give.
Yes.
Says there was something bigger that needed to happen, is why I was called in to help with the mindset and the culture of that organization. So,
and of course, the truism is an organization's culture is a direct reflection of its leader.
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
And so they needed to fix that immediately. And like I said, HR did what they were supposed to. Legal did what they were supposed to. I helped them with the culture and their leadership mindset. But when I say harassment happens in its simplest form,
yes.
It doesn't have to be some guy doing something weird at work. It could be as simple as sending out a stupid email asking for stupid information, turns into, I'm sure they had to release that officer. And I don't know what happened to the leader, who then brushed off the females who were, registering the ethics complaint. But you just have to be mindful of that you're working with people.
Yes.
Is the bottom line. You're working with people, and you have to be mindful of people's boundaries and respect those.
Yes. 100%.
This our time for today, and our topic was around harassment and your role as a leader and how serious a topic this is. We felt it was necessary to address this as part of our leadership Unfiltered. And we would just say, whether the accusations are against you or you are a leader where there are accusations in the environment, you have a critical role to play. That of transparency, psychological safety, and making sure you seek the guidance of professionals like HR, legal, and ethics to make sure you stay out of further trouble and damage, and make sure that it's remedied, right? You just cannot have a healthy workplace when harassment is not addressed immediately. So with that, we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Leadership Unfiltered. We hope you have found value in our conversation and are ready to take action in your leadership journey. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, share, and leave us a review. And don't forget to connect with us on social media for more leadership insights and resources. Until next time, keep leading with purpose.